Okay, so now let's talk about operations. Right, so just to recall, this is the cycle, right? So bud break is the spring growth, then we get to bloom, which is flowering, and then the fruit sets and grows, and then the fruit changes color and builds up sugar. That's veraison, it ripens, and then we harvest it. The leaves fall off, and then we're in dormancy, and we start pruning, and we repeat this over and over. Okay, so obviously, phenology and operations go hand in hand because we're going to do certain things at certain phenological stages, right? So this is what a vineyard calendar looks like. This is kind of the order of operations. This is my own calendar for Oregon. I don't expect you to know any of this, but just notice that it is a lot, right? We're doing a ton of stuff throughout the season. So we're going to cover some of the major things that we do in vineyards. So one of the first things we do right after bud break is shoot thinning. So we do this at about kind of 2 to 3 inches of shoot growth when the shoots are like just kind of supple and we can quickly get them off. And we thin shoots out to open up the canopy architecture. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today with what we call canopy management, so taking off vegetative stuff, is really just about opening up the canopy, getting more light on shoots and more light on buds and fruit, primarily to combat disease. That's the number one reason that we're opening up the canopy. But there's other benefits to it as well. So we're trying to get more light on that fruit, which also, besides helping us combat disease by getting stuff drier and just by UV killing off fungus and that sort of thing, by getting more light, we can get more flavor and aroma, and then we can also build up phenolics, which can be really useful in our red wines, right? So getting color and mouthfeel. More light on the buds can also get us more crop in the next year, like we talked about bud fruitfulness. So the more light we get to those buds, the more potential crop we can have in the following year. Also, of course, better spray penetration, just getting more occlusion away from the fruit. So opening up that fruit zone, just getting more spray in there and getting more UV light, like I said, but also just drying out the fruit zone. So getting more wind and airflow through that fruit zone, warming it up so it dries out faster and it's less conducive to fungal disease. Right, so what are we doing here? We're removing unnecessary shoots. You'll see, we're gonna see a video of it, but there will be the primary, so you've seen grapevine buds before, and so you have the 3 buds. It's a compound bud, primary, secondary, tertiary. You only really want that primary bud to push up and have, it has 2 clusters per shoot generally, and they're relatively large clusters. And then the secondary bud, it's usually only kind of about 1 cluster per shoot. This is in vinifera, and it's a smaller cluster. And then the third is, the tertiary is generally vegetative, right? So we don't really want those. But sometimes the secondaries and the tertiaries will push. So you gotta get rid of those kinds of things. And so we're removing those, we're removing things that just kind of aren't in the right position, that sort of thing. Yeah, and we're taking away things that are like carbohydrate sinks, unnecessary carbohydrate sinks as well. That can kind of slow growth down and won't provide shoots that are useful for us. So one of the things that we will remove are water sprouts. So I think I've mentioned this in the past, but remember, a water sprout is a shoot that just arises off the trunk. So this is one of the things we're going to take off during shoot thinning. And also suckers. We might do this simultaneously, removing suckers, water sprouts, and shoot thinning all at one time. Suckers are the shoots arising from the rootstocks. So these shoots down here, they just don't get hit with fungicide, and that's the main reason we get them off the vine. It's because they don't get hit with fungicide and they can just kind of vector disease then. They can also get, if we spray herbicides, they can get sprayed with herbicides, and if that herbicide is systemic, it can go through the whole vine. So we also need to remove it for that purpose. So this is what shoot thinning looks like in a vineyard if we do it by hand, and oftentimes at the high end of the industry, we're doing it by hand. I'm going to show you, I think, a photo of it being done by a machine, but this is generally how I've done it. This is how I've always done it. I've never done it by machine. We put crews of people out, and you just thin out shoots that you don't want. So again, here it is before shoot thinning, and then here it is after. So you can see they've really cleared up the area here in the head, which can get quite congested and be a big area for disease. So I'm going to show you a video of someone explaining shoot thinning and doing it.
Hello, my name is Brian Talley, and today we're in East Rincon Block 2, one of our oldest Pinot Noir vineyards here at Talley Vineyards. I've got Kevin Wilkinson, who is our vineyard manager, and we're going to talk about one of the most important things that we do every spring here, which is shoot thinning. So, Kevin, you want to take us through this process?
Yeah, like Brian said, every spring, about this time when the shoots are anywhere from 3 to 6 inches tall, we send a crew through here, and what we want to try to achieve is a balance at every spur position that you see here. All that we want in this block is two shoots per spur, and what you'll see in here is we've got multiple other latent buds that have pushed, so we'll want to send a crew through here and clean up anything extra that is pushed. So all we do is we go through here, we look at each site. As you can see right here, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 shoots coming out of one spur. A primary, and these 2 smaller secondaries. So you can see the secondary coming out, it's less vigorous. So we'll just continue down the vine like this, take out a secondary, and we also want to remove any buds that come out of barky wood. Those are latent buds that the vine has many latent buds through the whole arm, and we only want the buds that are on last year's fruiting wood. And you just continue through the whole vine.
Forgot that I edited that video. Put those chill vibes at the end. I'm a fan. Okay, can also be done by machine. So in the more value side of the wine sector, like in the Central Valley of California and in the Columbia Valley of Washington State, they do actually do quite a lot of this with machines. And so what you see here is one type of shoot thinner. There's a couple different types. But it kind of just goes through with this. You've got like this head here that's uses hydraulics, and you kind of set the speed which the head is kind of whacking shoots at, and then you set the speed on the tractor, and you sort of roughly calibrate it, going like, yeah, we think we're taking off enough shoots, and then you just go. So it's not super detail oriented like you saw in there with folks going through and taking out exactly the shoots that need to go. It is getting more detail oriented with some work that was done here at Cornell at the Lake Erie Research Center by Terry Bates and his crew on using like sensors and then kind of making a map of a vineyard, and then you can like change how the speed of the head as you get through more dense areas of the vineyard. The head moves faster and takes off more shoots, and less dense areas it takes off less shoots. But still, it's not going to be as exacting as what you saw, which was people taking off secondaries and tertiaries and latent buds and that sort of thing. Okay, but yeah, this operation by hand can be very labor intensive, roughly 10 to 20 hours an acre on most vineyards if we do this but with a crew. So you can kind of work out roughly how much that's going to cost people, and then we can do this with a tractor about 45 minutes to an hour an acre. So you can save a lot of money there.